it was a lot different, and it was, a little bit interesting because, everything was different in Texas. Everything, they have a store called HEB, and it's called Here Everything's Better. And a lot of people would always tell us that, everything's better in Texas. Everything's bigger and better in Texas. That's what they would always tell us. And so I remember, getting there, and the weather was a lot different. It was definitely, there was a lot of rain, and I wasn't really used to that. And when it would rain, it would pour. And so there were usually flash flood warnings, and, make sure that you don't drive through water or stuff, because obviously you could be in danger, because when it rains in San Antonio, it pours, and unfortunately the water does not drain very quickly, and the overflows, it starts overflowing, and then it just becomes a big, chaos. And so the weather was definitely different. It was very humid, super hot, and just very, I guess when it came time for it to be winter time, it was super cold. Even though it wasn't snowing, it was just cold because of the humidity, and the humidity would just go right through your sweater and down into your bones, and so you could feel the cold. So when it came time for winter time, it was pretty cold as well. Now, housing in San Antonio was a little different. Here in Utah, it's a lot different than it is in Texas. So in Texas, we had a lot more apartments. And we lived, in big complexes usually. And so they would usually house about maybe a companionship or two per apartment, depending on the size of the apartment. And the transportation was pretty simple. It was either you were on a bike, or you were in a walking area because it was small, or you were in a car. But most Spanish missionaries had a car, just because our areas were a lot bigger. And then also our leadership in the mission tended to have a car for the most part. Shopping in Texas was just, a little different. I mean, everything was I felt everything to be a little cheaper than it is around here. So I really liked it. There was a lot of places where we could go. I mean, obviously you have the common stores, Walmart, and Sam's Club and all these other stores, but they also have HEB, which everything tended to be a lot cheaper there, which was a great thing. The crime, in San Antonio isn't really, too big, at least not that I saw or not that I heard. There was a couple, incidents where here and there we'd hear about somebody messing with the missionaries, but all in all, it wasn't really that bad. Texas is, it is a big state, and San Antonio is huge. And I'm sure there is, crime just like every other city, but it's not a whole much that you see on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of places to travel in San Antonio. On our P days, we had the opportunity to travel, especially if it was within our zone. We could go anywhere within our zone. And I remember we had the opportunity to go and visit, the Alamo, and all these other different mission sites where battles took places across San Antonio. And then we also had the opportunity to go to the Tower of the Americas, which is super awesome. If you serve there, you should go there. You basically just get in an elevator, it'll take you to the very top, and it's just this 360 view of San Antonio. So it's pretty awesome because you get to see, where it is that you're serving from the very top. You could basically point it out because Texas is so flat that you can just see for miles and miles. And so there's definitely a lot to do in Texas, and especially in San Antonio. And it's challenging, but at the same time it's worthwhile because there's a lot of opportunities to not only grow within the mission, to become a better missionary, but also to help people come closer to Jesus Christ. So many opportunities. And for that, I'm grateful.